Do yourself a favor, stop creating random content, shitty lead magnets, and instead start building an actual ecosystem for your business. Welcome back to episode number 4 of the $30,000 per month lifestyle business blueprint. It's a 6-part mini series. So far in the series, you've understood, hopefully, how to build the foundations of a lifestyle business. In episode 1, we spoke about the $30,000 per month business blueprint. Then in episode number 2, we spoke about becoming a category of 1 and really just making a decision that you're going to become undeniable. In episode 3, we spoke about the way that you can create an offer that can sell itself. And we also discussed how to build the indoctrination series that really helps to build trust, certainty, and belief in you and what your service can do for somebody before the sales call even takes place. Now, what I want to take you through today, and what I want to show you, is how you can start piecing all of that together. Because this is probably the place where most people actually get stuck, because they understand their offer, they understand their service, they understand obviously their methodologies, their frameworks, how they actually serve their clients, but they don't consistently understand how they can get people into their world on a consistent enough basis so that they can make the sales that they want to make. So then what happens is ineffectiveness. They wake up every morning, wondering, what the fuck am I going to do today? How am I going to get paid? What should I post today? What do I need to talk about today? What lead magnets do I need to create? What email should I send out? What reel should I make? What carousel? Who do I need to reach out to? What video do I need to, should I record and put out to my email list? And it's all like, what? There's no confidence, there's no certainty, there's no direction. And before long, content starts feeling very much like a job, an obligation. And lead generation, very inconsistent. And business starts to have this feeling, this is just fucking harder than what I thought it was going to be. Now, the reason all of that happens, in my opinion, is most people create content backwards. So it's very random how they create their posts. It's very random how they create, lead magnets, their emails, the videos. Some people have some content pillars, but they're not really dialed in. They're not really, nothing's really connected. Everything's the opposite. Everything's disconnected. So nothing links together. Nothing actually kind of builds upon itself. Now, because of that, every day feels like essentially I'm starting over again. And you're constantly creating, but you're not actually building anything. There's no real momentum, there's no real compounding effect. And I think that's where most business owners never really get to, where they can have a process that they trust that can consistently attract clients, because trust doesn't come from random acts of content or lead generation in your business. Trust comes from consistency. Trust comes from repetition. It comes from people having continuous proximity to you. Trust can also come from people repeatedly engaging with not just your content, but like your ideas, your philosophies, your methodologies over a period of time. And that's exactly where the omnipresent growth flywheel kind of comes into this. And this is literally the entire thing it's been designed to do. But before I go in and kind of explain what it is, I want you to understand something that I think can help you. So the omnipresent growth flywheel is not a content strategy. It's not a lead generation strategy. It's not a social media strategy. It's an ecosystem. And it's an ecosystem specifically designed to build trust in you. It's very simple, and it gives a lot of consistency, and it's designed with one main purpose, and that is to move people from just them giving you attention to them trusting you, and then from the trust to a deeper level of resonance, from the resonance to essentially like a readiness to move forward, and eventually that leads to somebody becoming a paying client. Now, the reason that I personally love this system so much is because it removes complexity, and that's pretty much everything I've built my business around. Simplicity scales. We all know that complexity kills your cash flow. So everything starts with your offer, and because your offer tells people, who you help, what problems you solve, what outcomes you can create, why people even hire you in the first place, what are your methodologies that you use to help people to solve problems and achieve specific outcomes, what's the transformation that you provide to people and the results that you help people to achieve once they come and work with you. But also, like, once you've got that kind of clarity, creating content becomes so much fucking easier, because your indoctrination series that we spoke about in a previous episode is literally built directly from your offer. So if your offer has 5 or 6 ways or major problems that you solve for your audience, there's going to be 5 episodes, for example. If your offer has 6 major problems that you solve, you have 6 episodes. The offer becomes the foundation of that indoctrination series. Okay, the indoctrination series becomes like the kind of the educational journey that helps to pre-sell people on their belief of kind of working with you and that you'd be a good fit for them. Now, once that happens, something powerful happens. Every episode in your indoctrination series becomes essentially a content pillar, meaning every reel, every carousel, every written post, every story, every email, every short form video, it can all be created from the same core topics in your indoctrination series. So that makes it so much simpler, because you don't then need more ideas. All you simply need at that point is better organization, because you're no longer creating content from scratch. Instead, you're creating content simply just using different perspectives and different angles, but it's all around the same belief shifts and the same topic. So it can be like a different story or a different lesson, different angle, a different example, a different metaphor, a different experience, but it's all leading in the same direction. It's all leading in the same, it all has the same destination. So everything points back to the same methodology. Everything points back to the same endpoint, to the same fucking offer. And everything points back to the same transformation that you can provide to people. Now, because everything comes from the same source, everything starts to feel congruent. Everything feels aligned. Everything feels intentional. And if somebody resonates with your content that you're posting, then they're naturally going to resonate with the indoctrination series, because it's basically all the same thing. You're just redistributing information. And if they resonate with the indoctrination series, then they won't actually resonate with your offer, because the indoctrination series is basically your offer repackaged into a series of videos to take people through it. And if they resonate with the offer, then they're going to resonate with the service. Now, because every single step is essentially saying the same thing, just in a different format, but it's all congruent, it's all aligned, there's consistency. And that's why I call it like a stepping stone funnel. So a stepping stone funnel is nothing more than a series of easy yeses. So if somebody sees a piece of content, for example, they decide that they want the training. It's an easy yes. I want the access to the resource that's going to help me understand something. Then if they watch the training, they can decide if they want to watch the next episode. Another easy yes into the next episode, so on and so forth. They click the link, they join your email list. An easy yes. I will give you my name, give my contact details so I can get him. They decide to watch another video. And then from that, eventually they go and they read your offer document. Another easy yes to go into that. They decide to submit an application based on what they've seen in that. Again, another easy yes for them to make. Do you see what's happening? Like, nobody's being fucking pushed. Nobody's being pressured. You're not even present in the thing. Like, it's working autonomously without you. They're simply making small decisions because each step feels valuable to them, it feels relevant to them, and they can see there's a benefit to them progressing through this process. So every one of those decisions creates more trust, but it's also more familiarity, more certainty, more buying readiness. Now, once you've built the ecosystem, which is basically your email list and proximity, and everybody starts getting access to you, something powerful happens, and it's what I call the proximity effect. So the proximity effect is it's based on like a simple truth. Most people do not buy the first time that they encounter you. I wish they did, but they don't. They buy because of a sustained proximity to you. They buy because they're spending enough time consuming your ideas, enough time understanding your philosophies, enough time to understand your unique methodologies and frameworks and processes, enough time seeing your proof, client results, case studies, so on and so forth, enough time really understanding your perspectives and your worldviews, everything that makes you uniquely you, because buying rarely happens instantaneously. It normally follows a sequence, and proximity gives you the ability to build familiarity, trust, resonance, readiness, and a conversion, ultimately, which is what we all want. And I think this is probably the part that most people would make a mistake with. They try to force a conversion before there's been enough trust and readiness established. So they're booking calls because people tell you you've got to book calls, and then they're trying to close deals, they're trying to create urgency, they're trying to generate sales. But all before somebody has spent enough time in your world consuming you and getting to a point where they trust you, they believe in you, they've made a decision, this feels like a good fit for me. But when somebody can remain inside this ecosystem, trust naturally compounds, because every email, every video, every workshop, every training, every story, every lesson, every client result, whether that's like a testimonial, case study, whatever it may be, every interaction that happens in this ecosystem, in this omnipresent growth flywheel, it all adds another layer of certainty. And eventually, there's a moment that just happens. Not because you needed to convince anybody, not because you had to pressure anybody to do anything, not because you had to coerce somebody and manipulate them to do something, but because timing finally met trust. And that's very important, because this is why your email list isn't just an email list. It's a proximity engine. Consider your email list more like a private community. Okay, people are paying you a little bit of money to be in this community. They expect a certain amount of value from you. It's a place where trust is built and relationships are formed. It's a place where trust will compound over a period of time. It's a place where buying readiness is created. And that is why the omnipresent growth flywheel and the proximity effect, they work so well together. They complement each other, because the growth flywheel is the environment. Okay, it creates the right environment. The proximity effect creates the outcome. So one creates exposure, the other creates trust. One creates consistency, the other creates readiness. And together they create a business that doesn't rely on pressure, persuasion, or constant fucking chasing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's pull energy, it's attract, not chase and pursue. You don't want to be chasing shit. Now, before I finish for today's episode, I just want to reflect on a couple of questions. Are you currently creating content, or are you building an ecosystem? Are your posts, your emails, your videos, lead magnets, are they all connected? Or is there like randomness and they're kind of disconnected and they don't really move anybody in a direction? What happens when somebody consumes your content? And what do I mean by that? But like, where do you lead them to? Where do they go next? How are you creating a sustained proximity with your audience? Okay, how are you keeping present in their world, front of mind? What happens if somebody doesn't buy from you today? Like, what happens next? Do they leave your world? Or do they remain in an ecosystem that continually exposes them to you and just helps them to understand you until the time comes when they are ready? Because I think that's a real big difference here. One approach, you just rely on luck. You're just sitting and waiting and hoping things drop into your lap. The other relies on trust. And trust is a compounding asset for you. So now that you understand there's an ecosystem and people need proximity to you, and then once you've been able to build familiarity and trust over a period of time, somebody gets ready to buy. So the next question becomes, how can you take and kind of convert trust and convert it into clients without pressure, manipulation, or traditional selling? Because most service providers don't fucking want that. So how do you help people to make a decision for themselves without you needing to convince them? And how can you create consistent cash flow, which is what we all want, without consistently having to chase new leads? Because that's really where we're heading here. So that's exactly what I'm going to cover with you in the next episode, which is episode 5. And that is covert sales, effortless sales, and how to run cash campaigns. Because the best sales conversations don't happen because you needed to convince or persuade anybody to do anything. They happened because trust was built a long time before the conversation even started. And that's what I'm going to cover in the next episode. So I'll see you in episode 5, and thank you very much for your time today.